All right, so today we're cracking open the playbook of a tech agency called RapidDev. We're going to deconstruct their whole business model. But here's the catch. We're only using what they've put out there themselves. What do they promise? And how do they say they'll deliver? Let's dive in and find out.
This is the question every single company faces when they're trying to grow, right? How do you go from a big idea to a real global tech player? You've got the vision, sure, but how do you actually build the tech to make it happen? And, more importantly, do it fast enough to beat the competition? This is that huge, high-stakes problem that companies like RapidDev are built to solve.
And yeah, they don't exactly whisper this stuff, they're shouting it right from their homepage. Look at this. Scale to $745,000 a month. I mean, that's not a promise to build you a little feature. That's a promise of a massive business outcome. It's a super bold claim, and it tells you right away that their focus isn't just on writing code. It's about getting you results. Big results.
Okay, so to really understand their whole model, we've got to look at how they talk about themselves. And right off the bat, they make one thing super clear. They're not just a bunch of coders you can hire. No, they call themselves a strategic tech partner.
So what does that actually mean? Well, here's their core mission statement. They say they help companies build, launch, scale, and grow 5x faster with AI. 5 times faster. That is a huge, huge claim. So let's see what kind of numbers they're putting out there to try and back that up. Okay, first up, the social proof. They've got a 4.9 rating on Clutch, which is a big deal in the B2B world. That tells you that, by and large, their clients are pretty darn happy.
And we're not talking about just a few good reviews either. They're claiming over 875 happy partners. That's a lot of projects. That number alone suggests they've seen it all, across a ton of different industries.
And their reach? It's global. They're working in over 17 countries, so they clearly know how to handle different markets and business cultures.
And to wrap up the numbers, check out the team size, over 220 people. That's some serious firepower. It means they've got the capacity and the wide range of skills to take on some really complex stuff. Okay, so the numbers definitely establish their scale, but what do they, actually do?
Well, that brings us to their service playbook. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of what they're actually offering. What are the concrete services that make up this strategic partnership? And, I guess more importantly, what puts the Rapid in RapidDev?
Okay, this is where that Rapid name really starts to make sense. Just look at these timelines. They claim they can launch AI-powered apps in 10 weeks or less. Mobile and web apps, 8 weeks. And get this, internal business tools in a mind-blowing 6 weeks. Now, if you've ever been part of a software project, you know those timelines are, well, they're incredibly aggressive. This speed is clearly a huge piece of what they're selling.
And it's not just about building the thing and then waving goodbye. The partnership apparently keeps going. They offer what they call growth programs, which focus on stuff like SEO. So it's really an end-to-end thing. It's like they don't just build you the car, they also stick around to give you the gas and the GPS to make sure you actually get to your destination. All right, so they make some really big promises, and they offer this whole menu of super fast services. But here's the million-dollar question. Does it actually work? This is where we need to see some proof. We're moving from their claims to their case studies to see what kind of results they're showing off.
Okay, first on the list is a company called Grantify. And this one fits perfectly into that cutting-edge, AI-powered apps category we were just looking at.
So what was the result? Well, they helped the company raise a total of $26 million. That is a really powerful proof point, right? Because they're not just saying, we built a cool app. They're drawing a straight line from the app they built to the client's ability to go out and get millions in funding. All right, now let's switch gears and look at another example to see their range. This one's for a client called True Footage, and it's in a totally different ballpark, internal business tools. So we're not talking about a flashy app for customers here. This is all about making the company itself run better.
And if you thought the last number was big, check this out. The result here, they helped the company raise $80 million. 80! I mean, that's just staggering. What this suggests is that the internal tools they built were so good at making things run smoothly that it basically prepped the company for huge enterprise-level growth. The proof is definitely compelling. So, what's the secret sauce here? What's the philosophy?
And that brings us to the final piece of this puzzle, what they seem to think is their secret sauce. And according to their own materials, it really all comes down to one thing: how they see the relationship with their clients. They put it right out there on their site. Listen to this. At RapidDev, we don't just build, we commit.
Weekends, deadlines, crunch time, we're your trusted partner in every sense. I mean, that's not the kind of language you hear from a typical contractor who just clocks out at 5 p.m., right? That sounds like someone who's right there in the trenches with you, feeling that same pressure to get things done.
And it seems like their clients actually feel that way. Check out this testimonial from the co-founder of a company called Arc. This is fascinating. He doesn't just say, oh, they were a good developer. He says it was like having another co-founder on the team. That phrase right there, a true strategic thought partner, that's a direct echo of the exact identity they're trying to build.
And here's one more, from the chief product officer at a company called Praxion. This quote just ties everything together perfectly. He says they do complex work on extremely fast timelines. See, it's the two big promises in one sentence. They can handle the hard stuff, and they can do it at that lightning speed we saw earlier.
So, if we break it all down, if we deconstruct the RapidDev blueprint based only on their own stuff, this is what it looks like. 1. You start with a massive results-focused promise that gets people's attention. 2. You provide the whole toolkit from A to Z development and growth. 3. You back it all up with real case studies that have huge dollar signs attached. And 4. You wrap the entire thing in this philosophy of being a true partner, not just another company they hired.
And that really leaves us with one big question to chew on. In a world where getting to market first is basically everything, is this the future of tech development? This all-in-one partner model where one team handles everything from the very first line of code to getting your first customer through SEO? Is that the new blueprint for how great tech gets built? Definitely something to think about.